Hey everyone, I have here a very special set. This is the Lego House Tree of Creativity, the one that came out in 2018 and is set to retire in 2020. This is a special request from a high-level and long-time Patreon supporter named Matt M. And I also need to give special thanks to another Patreon supporter who goes by Cranky Bricks, who actually sourced this set from Billund for me to review for Matt and for all of you. So this is exclusively available, or at least was exclusively available, at the Lego House itself in Billund. And now you get to look at it up close. As do I, something I did not think I would ever be able to do. So again, huge thanks to the folks on Patreon for making this happen, even for me. This is based off the massive, what is it, like 6.5 million brick tree that they have at the Lego House. It's a ridiculously huge thing that they've got in there, built around a sturdy metal frame. It weighs like tons and tons and tons. And basically what you do is you go there and you enjoy the Lego House experience. And then if you want to bring a little piece of it home, you can. And this is one of the ways that you can do it. So this is really intended to be like a souvenir. You know, this is something you get from the gift shop only there. And I'm not sure if they ever made this available in any other way. I don't think so. I think they tried to keep it fairly exclusive. And I believe from what I've read, they only made 10,000 of these. Now 10,000 is a large number, but relative to numbers of other like more common Lego sets that they've made, it's a drop in the bucket. It's absolutely tiny. Now, there was another version of this thing that they made that looked very similar the year before. They had the inside tour version, which was not exactly this model. I think they made 175 of those in total. They were numbered, but it looks very similar to this. And you can immediately tell the difference. The 2017 one had a monkey hanging off the side. That's the most noticeable thing. The sizes are a little bit different. This one's, I believe, a little bit smaller. You can see small details if you look really carefully, but this is indeed the more common 2018 version. So starting down here at the base, the real thing, the full-size thing, has a pit essentially down here of loose green bricks. So I appreciate the designer's attempt to suggest that these are loose bricks down there. I mean, if you look at it, well, depends on how your eyes and how your brain works. It may look a little bit too organized, but all the space in there, to me, makes it feel like these things are going to be able to move around. They're all actually attached quite well, but I like just the suggestion of something different going on down there. You know, they easily could have done that with just a bunch of regular squared plates, 1x1s or whatever, or, I don't know, used grill pieces and stuff, but this feels effective to me. Now, the trunk feels a bit too squarish to me and a little bit plain, especially in its shape, but at least they do try to change up the shaping a little bit, change up the colors to keep it from being too boring. I really wish that it could have been a little bit more round. Of course, the real thing, again, is made from millions of bricks, so they're able to get a nice organic shape out of it. This thing over here, this caught me completely by surprise after I had completed the build of the entire thing. Wasn't paying enough attention. I mean, obviously that's the Lego wooden duck, classic model, and it's intended to look like it's kind of carved into the bark or carved into the wood of the trunk and then grown from there. The real thing, as it turns out, has a number of Easter eggs like this, but they've only represented one here. I think that's okay. But I was actually going to complain. It's so funny. I was actually going to complain as I built this model that it did some really weird things down here. It seems completely unnecessary. Like, why did they have to do that? All these could have been done with fewer pieces. Just at the very end. Actually, it was after I brought it into the studio that I realized, hey, that's the wooden duck. That's brilliant. I love it. So great surprise to me. So let's just go up the branches, or the boughs, you might say. So this first one and the leafy portions are mostly built the same from one to the next. There is a little bit of variation, but for the most part, they're the same. And they tried to bring in that artificial appearance with the choice of colors, with the dark green, regular green, and the lime green. On the real thing, these are, they're huge, but they're designed to look like they're made from Lego foliage pieces. So this kind of feels like it's trying to be a model of something that's plastic, that's trying to represent something real. It's 2 layers abstracted. I see that, I feel that here. It kind of makes sense to me. So obviously we have just a castle there. Not sure exactly which one that's supposed to represent, but when I see that much white and red together, I think of some of the relatively recent, 21st century castle themes. All the foliage bits are you're going to see they're incredibly similar. This next one up just has a fire engine, and it's got or fire truck, would it be? It's got a ladder suggested on top. Nothing too fancy about the build of that one. It's fairly simple. There are some leaves or some leaf sections, some branch sections that have absolutely nothing on them. This is my favorite part here for obvious reasons. It has a train on it. It has train tracks. It's kind of cool. They went with the blue to represent the older classic train tracks. This is intended to represent a police station here with that much black, but then it's also got the white. I'm not sure what era this would be representing. I mean, 3 stories tall, so it can't be too old. But then they've got a steam locomotive there, so that's a little bit older. And obviously the blue tracks are older. And this looks like one of a couple of actual train station models that Lego has made through the years that have similar looks to that. So yeah, some recognizable stuff there. And the next thing up, well, that's just more regular leaves. And then we get to this woodpecker, which either is pecking that hole into the trunk right now to get at some grubs or something, or it's carving out a little nest for itself. Oops, sorry about the focus there. There we go. Yeah, not the best woodpecker. I think it looks pretty good, like from this angle here. Once you start to look at it from the back, it's like questionable. Directly from the side, it's a little bit questionable to me, but I get it. I totally know what it's supposed to be. And if you're not too much, and maybe literally too much into Lego, like perhaps I am, you might not nitpick at it as much as I do, and just instead be able to appreciate the charm of something that's made of fairly simple Lego pieces representing something very organic. Another just regular branch here with nothing on it, and then the next one up, sorry, that's a little bit washed out, got a little bit too much light up close, but that's just a rocket, and it's taken off. Cool. Red and white. Could this represent the original rocket from back in the 60s? I think the second ever space set that they did. Was it the second or third? I think it was the second rocket that was colored in bands like that. So I think that represents something relatively classic, but then it's brought to modern life. And then opposite that on the other side, just another branch with plain leaves, no detail, no extra detail there. Same thing here. I'm going to look at this side. And then on this side, this is where we get into some construction work. So that's actually a leaf platform that is not complete, or a branch platform that is not complete. A little bulldozer there, or some sort of heavy equipment piece. And then at the very top is the crane, the self-constructing crane. And it's bringing in the last piece of the terrain that would fit into that empty spot. And this is, again, completely tied into the center Technic structure of it all. You've got that one gear on the other side just to suggest that, this would be representing a model that could actually work. It would have a working winch or something like that. But here it doesn't do anything. It's completely static, and I think that's fine. And this is represented, or a representation of, again, something that's on the real full-sized thing. And that's pretty much it for the details of all there is to see with this, with the exception of the figure, which I will show you up close momentarily. Actually, let me just bring it in for scale right now. This is definitely a taller model than I expected it to be. I don't know. I think I expected it to be up to about there. For whatever that's worth. I mean, this definitely has some serious presence. Definitely scales nicely to the model. It's just such a meta thing, right? It's a scaled down abstract model of a huge oversized representation of something that would have been made from Lego, which in turn would have been much smaller. Like, I wonder how different this is and how interesting it would be to make like a realistic version of this. So take what the designers of the real thing did, take that, scale it back down to its original form, and then do a side-by-side. That'd be an interesting thing. I wonder if actually anybody has already done that. Probably. There are a few spots where you can see a little bit of color from the inner structure. There's just a little bit of orange right there. There's a little bit of red here. It's probably the worst place. Right in here is just a little vertical line of it because that's not a complete brick. But for the most part, things are closed up pretty well, and it just appears how it's intended to. The most striking thing about this, to me, about the entire thing, is the use of the lime green for the highlight color. If I was designing this, I probably would have preferred bright green, and that brings up an interesting quandary, like which would be better. I think that bright green would make this look nicer, would make it look more like a real tree, but then it wouldn't be as bright, it wouldn't be as fun, it wouldn't be as lively, it wouldn't look as much like something that's representing a Lego representation of Lego. You know, this is just like super, super Lego. And these really stand out. They look plasticky intentionally, I think. I don't know. The more I look at it, actually, the more I like it, except for this section down here that just looks a little bit too square to me. Let's take a look at that figure, though. So the face of this figure and the hairpiece are not exclusive, but the torso is a Lego House product line exclusive. Actually, I think when this came out, that hairpiece mold was still relatively new. It's more common now, but it's all about the collectability of that torso. It's a limited run item. It's not. It doesn't have an upper cap, like an upper limit of how many they've made, but it's definitely not made on the same production lines as regular stuff. Uses actually a different process, which is the reason for its quality not quite being up to snuff with the best stuff that Lego does, which is, I don't know. Is it really unfortunate? I don't know. I think it makes sense for them to do it this way. It doesn't look bad. Just doesn't look particularly fantastic. It's still genuine Lego, though, and has all the collectability of a relatively limited or special edition item that's only available in certain locations, in this case, one location in the world. I do wish that the Lego logo itself was a little bit cleaner around the lettering, or inside of the lettering especially, and the O in house, just, the yellow against white just doesn't stand out. You look at this from a distance, it's like H U's. Wait, H what U's? What H dash? Is that a dash? Oh, there's a face in there. Then you think, oh, it's Lego House. A little bit of outline would have gone a long way for that. It's nice that it has some detail on the back. They actually didn't need to do that. The head does not have an alternate face. Was there anything you could see there before? No, that's that. And finally, there are the spare parts. Not many of them, and nothing too special there. Here's what the instruction book looks like. A little bit different, a little bit unique, and it's kind of done like a magazine. Has a little bit of information in there about the Lego house itself, of course. I'm surprised they don't have more pictures of the real tree that they're representing. So that's what it actually looks like. I mean, just look at the detail in the trunk, how round it is, how organic, and it's got all the bark, switching between the dark brown and regular reddish brown. There's another little bit of a look at a bit of it, and you can see the colors, how they stand out. Otherwise, instructions are very normal on this, and it just ends with the completed model. Part list, I believe you can find this entire manual as PDFs if you want to see the entire thing carefully out there. Nothing particularly special on the back, and that is that. The set retailed exclusively at the Lego house for $599 DKK, which, if you do the currency conversion directly comes to about $95 US. However, that does not give you necessarily an accurate picture because economics don't quite work out in such a linear way as that. This is priced similarly to sets that go for about $70 US. Again, the way that the economics work out. So assume $70 US for 837 pieces. Price to part ratio looks actually pretty nice, but then this does have a lot of 1x1 pieces with 1x1 bricks, also 1x2s, and then a lot of 1x1 just plates, which are tiny, very low value. So when it comes to what you get here, like just looking at it as a Lego model, price to volume of stuff is not great. It's actually not good. I'd say it's probably in the range of some Lego Star Wars $70 sets in terms of volume of stuff that you get here. Maybe this is a little bit better than one of those, which is not saying a lot. However, this does have the very significant added value of being something you can only get in one place. It's intended to be something that you get not from just anywhere, but rather from actually going to the Lego house in Billund. And you bring it home as a little piece of that experience. So it definitely has a lot more collectability and collector value, objectively and subjectively, I think, to most people. And so really the price is, it's not bad at all. Again, price to part ratio looks really nice on paper. And it's a sturdy thing. It's just, it's strange, right? It's a Lego model of a huge Lego thing that represents a scaled up Lego model. And so it ends up being super blocky and kind of pixelated and limited in its detail while it's trying to go for a high level of detail at the same time. As just a standalone display model, like forget about the existence of the Lego house itself, the real thing, to me it doesn't look great. Like I think they could easily have done better than this. But as a representation of the real tree of creativity there, which is just this fantastic, amazing thing that's absolutely huge and with a tremendous amount of detail and care that went into it and time that went into it. Well, as a representation of that, I think it succeeds as something that you can just bring home from the museum there, from the exhibits, and then build and then just keep. I think it works. A little bit more detail and quality on that torso would have been nice as well. But again, it's not bad. But such a great experience to be able to have, to actually be able to build a real one of these things. I'm sure you can build one of these, except for with the figure. I'm sure you can build the whole thing just from bricklinking the parts. I don't think there are any exclusive pieces. I don't even think there are any rare or particularly rare pieces in this, or rare color combinations or anything. So maybe some of the dark green stuff is relatively rare, but not much. So you can build this thing on your own if you want. But I got to open up the box. Unfortunately, the box has little thumb tabs that you're supposed to push in. It's very destructive. I mean, this box is not in mint condition. It's been shipped around a bit, but I don't like that for something that's potentially collectible. So I very carefully cut through there in between, but I think it would have been better served with just the regular little, U.S. market style or North American market style tape tabs on there so that you could open it in a non-destructive way. Anyway, once again, thanks to Matt M on Patreon for his tremendous level of support and selecting this set, and also to Cranky Bricks on Patreon for sourcing this set for me, for Matt, and for all of you from Billund and sending it over here for me to build up. Great stuff. A unique experience that I would not have gotten myself ever before, and I would not have been able to share with all of you were it not for those supporters. Thank you for watching as well. If you want to see the build, I've got the pure build and also the speed build. Those are on their respective channels, linked in the video description and also the end screen. And I'll talk to you again soon.